What they did was there was a company in India called Vedanta Resources, and Vedanta Resources wished to purchase a tract of sea where it was said that there were billions of barrels of oil underneath that grid reference. But this is a hearsay. This is said to be by drilling 3D graph results on various drill sites. And so I think it was about 16 billion changed hands. Unbeknown to the general public was that I uncovered that there were common directors between Vedanta Resources and a Cairn Energy subsidiary. Because when you say Cairn Energy and Cairn India, very few people would look, but there were about 80 different subsidiaries. And what I did was I tracked them all, and I found that there was a common director for Cairn Energy with who was also on the board of directors of Vedanta. And so that's insider dealing, if you understand what that is. That if you know and you transfer money between one company and another, and you have a same common director on both boards, that's insider dealing. And so I made sure that some of my material went by way of somebody with close input into the Indian government, I am told. And apparently my sort of research work ended up on the Indian Prime Minister's desk. And shortly after, he resigned.
Because he was on the take.
Well, I don't think he was on the take. I think he purely had the best interests of the Indian people, because there are two different sides of living in India. There's the accepted sect and there's the lower sect. So these business people who represent the elite in India work with the elite in the United Kingdom and elsewhere. And they'd set up this deal, of which David Cameron went to pressurize the Indian government to accept this financial deal. And not only the Cairn India, Cairn Energy and Vedanta deal, he also went to pressurize the Indian government to drop the $2 billion tax bill against Vodafone. Now you're talking the top cellular phone network in the United Kingdom, probably the world.
That's funny, because that reminds me of what happened in New Zealand. We had Stephen Joyce, the CEO of MediaWorks, the largest private-owned media conglomerate in New Zealand, goes stand for the ruling government and becomes their communications minister. And in his first act of parliament, he bailed out his old company, which he was running into the ground, $40 million of unpaid government broadcasting fees. So
that's right.
The exact same thing.
Espionage.
Fractal scumbaggery.
That's right. So the other company, being Vodafone, fell into my research because of two connected directors, board directors. One was a guy called Sir Samuel Essen Jonah, and the other was a lady called Miss Anne Laverone. She resigned last year, and I know why. Was because I've been dealing for about 3 years with French-Swiss investigators who contacted me for my research work in regards to a 2.5 billion fraud between Arriva Nuclear France and a company called Uramin Inc. in Namibia. And the Uramin Inc. directors included Samuel Essen Jonah, who sold a care and maintenance uranium mine, which they'd purchased 6 months prior to for $100,000, to Arriva Nuclear and Miss Anne Laverone for $2.5 billion. That was nice. That's what you call a hell of a markup. Well, the French investigators contacted me and they challenged this deal, which my material, I am told, in correspondence with these investigators, is currently before French prosecutors. And it just so happens that Miss Anne Laveron and Sir Samuel S. and Jonah are on the board of Vodafone, to which David Cameron went to India to pressurize the Indian government to drop the 2 billion tax debt to the Indian people. Amazing, isn't it?
Oh, what a tangled web we weave.
Exactly.
What's the consequences? What's the consequences, though? I mean, like, you're going to have a conglomerate. And we're coming to break just now, Gordon, so I'll just finish up this thought. We're dealing with a conglomerate, and I think it's like in the movie Shooter, where he says that this conglomerate exists and continues to exist because none of the members of it betray their code, their creed of money and power. And if they do, there's going to be a lot of consequences for them indeed. Gordon Bowden is my guest. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to The Vinnie Eastwood Show.